Hello everyone, I am Siddharthan. In this video, let's understand how we can install MySQL Server and MySQL Workbench to work with databases. So we will also see how you can import a CSV file into this database table. So this will be the agenda for today's video and let's get started. So the first step is to download the installer for Windows. So go to Google if you are on Windows machine and search for MySQL download. And the first site, which is downloads page in mysql.com, is where we are going to go. So I'm clicking this website. You can scroll below in this downloads tab and you will see this MySQL community GPL downloads. So click on this link and we have like different versions and other aspects that we can install, but we are going to choose the MySQL installer for Windows. So let's click this one. And here you can choose the version. So I'm choosing the latest version 8.0.39. The OS is automatically selected here. So, and then we have these two options. One is web community version and the other one is just not the web version but the community version. So we can choose with the second one. So we have this Windows 32-bit MSI installer. So you can download this. So you don't have to log in. You can just click on no thanks, just start my download if you want. So this will start the download process. So the file size is about 300 MB in size. So I've already downloaded this file, so I can just go ahead and cancel this. So let's say that you have downloaded this file and you have this file in the download. So this is the file that we have got, which is MySQL installer community. So we can run this file in order to install MySQL Server, Workbench, and other softwares that we need. So I'll double click here and click on yes. And click on yes again. And this would start the installation process. So you can choose to either install only the server or the client. The other option is like full custom and so on. For simple installation, you can choose this full, and this will install all the products including this MySQL server, shell, router, and so on. So I'll use this as the version that I need, the full version, and click on next. And these are all the softwares that will be installed here. So we have MySQL Server and MySQL Workbench are the critical aspects. And then we have shell, router, documentation, samples, and so on, sample database. So when I click on execute, all these will be installed. So I'll click on this execute. So as you can see, the installation process is happening. So this may take a few minutes. So I'll just pause this video and resume it once this installation is done. So this installation is complete and this took like 3 minutes for me. So once all this green tick marks are visible, so that means like all these individual softwares are installed, you can click on this next button and we have this server router samples and samples and examples. So all these are getting configured. So we can click on this ready. So you can change this port number if you want, but these are like the default port number that's available. So you can just leave this as such. And if you want, you can also click on this show advanced and logging option, but we can skip that for now. So we have TCP port of 3306, and then we have this development computer. So this is like a basic personal PC. So I'm choosing this development computer, but if you're using this on a dedicated machine or a server in cloud, you can like choose those respective version. But for us, for personal use and learning, development computer is what we have to choose. And I click on next. So this you can just leave this as search and click on next. Now here we can set the username and the password. So usually the root, the default password that we would use is root root. So you can use a different username or a password as well. So or even you can create a user and give them specific permission, but for this main account I'll just like create this password as root. The username will also be root. So you don't have to worry about this because we are just going to use this as our local database. But if you're using this on production or a higher environment, you would probably like create proper usernames and password, but we can just go with the root root here. So the same root that we are seeing without any uppercase or other things. So type in this root and root password and repeat password and click on this next. So we have the service name. So all these things you can just leave it as such. Click on next. So grant full access to user running the Windows service and the administrator group only. Only the users and groups will not have access. So this is also you can leave it as such. Click on next and execute. So all these configurations will be assigned to this. So this is initializing the database as is. Again, this won't take a lot of time and everything is complete. So I'll click on this finish. I'll click on this next and we have all this test connections and other details and so on. So note this port number, which is 3306. So click on this finish as well, and here you can type in and check your password. So for us, we have created the same name root as the password as well. So after typing that, click on check. So connection is succeeded. That means everything is like proper now. So click on next and execute this. So this configuration is getting applied. Click on finish. So you can start MySQL Workbench if you want, or I can just uncheck this and later open this separately. So click on this finish. So here I'll now open my Workbench. So now I have installed MySQL Server, Workbench, and so on. So search for this MySQL Workbench, or you can just type in Workbench. So I'll click on this MySQL Workbench 8.0, see the community edition. So this will open the Workbench, the GUI using which we can access this. And you can click this local instance. So this is the local instance that has been running, which is MySQL 80, or you can also create kind of like create a new connection. So connect to database. So we have local instance MySQL 80. So this is like the default local server that has been running. So the connection method is TCP. You can leave that as such. So username is root. This is like kind of store in vault. So click on this store in vault thing, and in the password you can type in your password, which is root again. So click on this OK. You don't have to type in anything for the default schema, so click on OK. So this will open your database. So this is our MySQL Workbench, and we would have like different database as well. So we have this server status, client connections, and so on. So we have connected to our server, and we have this two tabs. One is administration and the other one is schemas. So click on the schemas. So this is where we will see the sample database that was present there. So here we have Sakila, system, and world. So these are like some of the sample database. So you can click on this info I thing to see like the size, table count, and so on. So I'll close this. I'll double click this and you will see the list of tables. So we have like three tables: city, country language, and so on. So let's say that we have to look at this city table. So what's basically present there? So you can just type in a SQL query. So just say select everything from. So I'm just increasing the font. So select everything from, mention the database name, so which is world. So these are database, and within that we have the tables. So select everything from world dot city. So city is the table, world is the database. Let's run this. So select all this and click on this execute the selected portion command, and we will see the entire data here, because asterisk basically lists all the data that's present here. And if you want to look at the count of all the rows, you can just enclose this asterisk within this count thing, select this and run this. So there is totally 4079 rows. So this is how you can access the tables that's present in our database. Even you can see the column names here as well. So in this left navigation, we have the city, right? So when you go to this drop down, you have this columns as well. So columns folder basically has the list of columns that's present. So we have ID, name, country code, district, and so on. So this is how you can work with the sample database present. So there is also a way of importing the data to a new database as well. So now let's see how we can create a new database within this workbench and access that. So for this, I'm just going to use a sample data set. So in machine learning, we use this diabetes data set, which is a CSV file. So I'll probably get that from GitHub or somewhere. So this is that database. So we can download the CSV file, or this will work for any CSV file or Excel file. So you can do that. So here I'll download this raw file. So this will download the CSV file for me. So diabetes.csv, and I'm going to use this one to import this to my database. So here to create a new database. So these are like sample existing database, right? But we want to create a separate database. So either you can click on right click here and you will see this create schema, or the other option is like uh, so I can, right click here, as I said, to create the schema, which is to create a database, or I can also click on this create a new schema from here. So create a new schema in the connected server. So now we can give a name. So I'll just say that this is healthcare data, healthcare database. We can give a name like that. And other things you can just leave it as such and click on this apply. So create schema healthcare database. So this is the query that's been running here. And I click on apply. So this has created a new database, you can see this healthcare database, but there is like nothing there. So I'll close this query as well. Click on this query. Okay, so we have this healthcare database and tables and so on. So now let's see how we can import the data. So click on this tables. So in this healthcare database drop down, click on this table, right click there and go to table data import wizard. So here we have to browse that CSV file that we have downloaded. So the diabetes.csv, and you can click on this next. So this will download this. So create new table. Healthcare database is the database and the table name. So let's call this diabetes underscore table. So drop table if it exists. So there is no table there, so we don't have to check this box. So you can click on this next, and we are seeing this different field type. So what is the data type? So if you want, you can also change this data type, whether you want this to be a floating point, string, or something. But I'll just leave this as such. Click on next and click on this next. So my data is prepared and the data is getting imported. So based on the size of the data, the time it takes kind of varies. So click on this next, finish. So totally there are like 768 records here. So I'll click on finish. So now we can do a query here. So you can click on this, create a new SQL tab for executing queries. So this is where you can write some queries. So here I'll say select everything from healthcare data. Let me zoom it a bit. Select everything from healthcare underscore database dot, the table name is, so in order to see the uploaded table, you can click on this refresh. So this will refresh this and display you the table name. So the table name is diabetes underscore table, right? So you can just say diabetes. Oh, there is a spelling mistake here. Diabetes underscore table, and I can select this and execute this query, and I can see the data here. So this is the data that we have imported via the CSV file. So if you want to see the count, as I said, you can just say count over here and so on, and select this and run this. So this is how you can execute queries, access the tables and so on. You can also run other complex SQL queries as well. So these are the things that I wanted to show you today. So the first part is installing MySQL Server and Workbench via the Windows installer. So after that, you can import a CSV data using the file import widget, and later you can like access that file, run some queries, get some data, and so on. So I hope everyone is clear until this point. In the next video, I'll explain you how you can connect to this databases and tables using Python. So that is all from me, and I hope that this is useful to you. I'll see you in the next upload. Thanks for watching.